My name is Sylvie Hewlett and I run Core Fusion Pilates and Physical Therapy in Hillary's in WA, and what I'm talking to you about today is how Pilates can help get a stronger core and why Pilates works for having a stronger core. And one of the big things that we get from clients, whether they're fitness clients that want to come in and do reformer classes or mat classes or bar classes, or whether they're people who have bad backs and need our physio side and our clinical rehab side, most people want a strong core. So what is it about Pilates that helps with a strong core? And Pilates is basically a system of exercise. It was devised by Joe Pilates. And what he did was really look at how we can effectively use our breathing, how we can effectively think about isolating how muscles work. And he did it in a structured approach, which obviously has been given the name Pilates. You have the different components of it, which is mat work, which some people might obviously be familiar on, where you're obviously doing it through your own body weight on the mat. Or we have the different methods and equipment that you might be familiar with, like the trap tables or the chairs or the barrels or reformers, and everyone these days knows what a reformer is as well. So working wise, how does it work? It works because what we're looking at doing is trying to get you thinking about your breathing. So when you have your tummy or when you have your breath, we have your core, which is basically the deeper muscle of your tummy, which is your TA. So if you think about your six-pack muscle, and then you have your obliques which go under that, and then deep to that what we have is what we call your transversus muscle, or your transversus abdominal muscle, and that sits like that and it wraps a belt around your abs this way. The top end of your core is basically your diaphragm. So basically when you breathe out, it helps to create support and stability in conjunction with your transversus muscle. At the back we have what we call our multifidi muscle, and they go over 2 or 3 vertebrae, and what they do is help us move each vertebrae segmentally. So instead of having that big compressive force of our bigger muscles such as our paravert muscles and our big back muscles, these smaller muscles give us support at the back, and they just give us that stretch so we don't have that compressive force on them. And obviously you've got your fascia and your thoracolumbar area on top, and then underneath, so the bottom part is going to be your perineum, so all your pelvic floor muscles. So if you think at the front, you have your deep muscle of your TA. At the top you have your diaphragm. At the back you have your fascia and your small muscles of your spine, and underneath you have your pelvic floor muscles. They're basically what we tend to focus on. So what that allows you to do is have these muscles holding you in a good space so that you can then move around and focus on then getting everything else to function in a good way, so that you've got the support from those deep muscles. And that's basically in a little bit of a nutshell what Pilates does and how it works. We're getting you to focus on using your breathing to help you activate these muscles, getting you to use your breathing to help stabilize you so that you can then move all your other muscles more efficiently. And because most of the work tends to be done symmetrically, so we're lying down or we might be standing, but we're moving the body in a way that we're not unbalanced, it does address other things like posture issues and back pain issues and that type of thing, purely from a point of view that we're addressing a few of the components that can cause back pain and issues and function issues, such as muscle imbalances, such as favouring one side, such as one side working harder than the other. And that's why Pilates works so well. So if you're working in group classes or you're doing, the group classes, you'll find that it will help you with some of the milder back pain, some of the other issues, some of the knee problems, because you're working in that symmetry. If you have obviously bigger, deeper issues where you're having functional problems and you're getting back pain, and you might access sort of the more clinical side of it, where you come in and see a physio and we're getting some programming for you and doing some muscle work and some muscle release as well as some mobilizations and whatever else you might need. Then it's a bit more specific and a bit more structured, because we're addressing specifically what we found on you to help you get you to a place where you might then progress into sort of the fitness style of classes as well. So when people say, yep, I want to do Pilates, I've heard it's really good for your core, and I'm not sure how it works, but I know that it works for your core. That's how it works. It's structured in a way that we can get your core to activate well without you having to think and focus too much on sucking everything in and holding. We're trying to get you to stabilize and think about doing something else and getting the core to work in the background all the time, because that's what core work is. Core work and your deep posture work should be where your muscles are working at a low level. So we're talking less than 30%, but they're working all the time. So those postural muscles kick in when they should kick in, rather than you using your big muscles to brace and hold, and then you lack movement. So that in a nutshell is what core strength is and how we approach core strength. We're talking about core strength where when you lift your arm, or when you go, or you're going up a stair or what have you, it just kicks in automatically. It's not that you have to stop and think and activate your core to do something. You might want to think about that if you're going to go and say lift a 50 kilo weight. We all stop and think, okay, how am I going to do this? But you want your core to be going on a consistent level, in the background level, and actually working in a way that you don't need to think about it. It becomes automatic, and that's why Pilates works so well, because what it does is it gives you that. It switches those muscles on in a way that they then start to remember how to work, so when you go and do different things, they're there and they're working in the background for you, and that's what makes it effective. So core work in Pilates, how does it work? It works by training your muscles to activate when you're doing things in a way in the background that is a lot more automated, so that they start to work for you and you're not having to stop and switch them on and think actively all the time. Obviously you need to have been training your body to do that, so you need to be starting at the lower levels and building up and doing that incremental progress on top. And obviously you need to make sure that when you're doing things that you're activating the right muscles, so you're doing it in the right way. But that is how Pilates works. Does it work to build core strength? For sure it works to build core strength. What we have is a slightly different definition of core strength, where we're looking at the deeper postural muscles, making sure they're there to support you, so then you can then layer on your bigger muscles that move you, like your six-pack muscles or your oblique muscles, that then on top of that allow you to move a lot more efficiently and a lot more effectively, so that you can perform better. So whether your goal is that you just want to be able to get out of a chair or roll out of bed and be able to function, or whether your goal is you want to shave 2 seconds off your 100-meter dash or whatever it might be, it should be able to accommodate you on both sides of the spectrum. So if you're interested, then Pilates is a great way to get your core kick-started, a great way to get your core going, a great way to then also normalise how you move and get better function, get better movement, get better flexibility, and all the other muscle strength and tone and stretch on top of that. But the basic thing is, everyone knows Pilates is good for your core, and that's why it's good for your core.